My name is Shaun Karey-Mckenna, and I am running for the position of Local Affairs Commissioner. I decided to run for the Local Affairs Commissioner because the job entails a lot of very important issues for the student body. There's the bus pass, which is probably the biggest issue the Local Affairs Commissioner has to deal with. There's the food bank, which is a very important issue because food is a right, it's not a privilege. And then there's also just various other things on campus, which I would love to get the student body more involved with the Guelph community. So talking to Galen Fick, I realized that by running for Local Affairs Commissioner, I'd have an opportunity to positively affect the University of Guelph environment.
Shaun, what experience do you have that you feel have granted you the skills you need if elected?
When I was in high school, I was very heavily involved in student government. I was the co-founder and co-president of the Gay Straight Alliance. As well, I was very involved in the leadership group, which put on many student events such as dances and charities. We had a Stuff the Bus food drive, for instance, that we filled a school bus all the way full with food. And then since I've come here, I've been involved with the University Center Board. I'm actually the chair of the Finance Committee, and I sit on the executive as well. So I have experience dealing with large budgets and dealing with committees. I'm also the member-at-large for the Alpha Epsilon Pi fraternity, which is the Jewish fraternity here on campus, and that's an executive position, and so I deal with making decisions to help run charity events or any event actually we put on. Last year we put on a very successful dodgeball tournament, which raised a good deal of money for a number of charities. As well, I have spent a good deal of my time working for cities, and back in my hometown, I ended up sitting on a number of committees that dealt with, in that case, they dealt with employment benefits for employees, and so I'm familiar with how municipal committees can work and how I can push legislation through those. Some of the specific issues I'd like to tackle I've already mentioned, including the bus pass and the food bank. I'd like to make sure the food bank has enough money. I'd like to ensure that we still have the bus pass and that we're getting good service for our money. Right now, we have the best bus pass in Canada, and I'd like to keep it that way. As well, I'd like to put up more bus shelters around the community, because there is really nothing more miserable than waiting in the rain and the snow for a bus. As well, Next Bus in the States, it's the same company. It allows you to, the company will text you when a bus is X number of minutes away from your stop. I like to put pressure on the city to put pressure on this Next Bus company to have the exact same service available here in Guelph as is available in the States. Next year, there's going to be a municipal election in Guelph. Voter turnout among students has been very low traditionally for these elections. I'd like to change this by putting polling stations on campus so students can use them easily. As well, I'd like to make it easy for off-campus students to vote by having a map of where polling places are and what bus routes they can take to get there. Something else that students need to be aware of is the number of services that Guelph offers. For instance, Guelph has a farmers market every Saturday, which many students, especially those on campus, are not familiar with. I'd like to have perhaps a booklet available to all students telling them what type of services that Guelph has and when they can utilize them. I plan to make myself available to all students through email, phone, and office hours. As well, during orientation week, I plan on going out and introducing myself as Local Affairs Commissioner to all the new incoming undergraduate students, letting them know where my office is and how they can contact me, as well as letting them know about the Legal Resource Room and the Human Rights Office.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
I will be sitting on the committees as a student representation. I will be sitting on the committees as a student representative. So I will be the voice for the students. They can contact me, again, I said, through email, through phone, through my office hours, and I'll make sure that I bring up their issues during these meetings. As I mentioned before, I have a lot of experience sitting on committees, so I know how to get things done. And I will use that experience to ensure that the student voice, student issues are heard in the community. As a Local Affairs Commissioner, I need to represent all the students at the University of Guelph. If any one student has an issue, I need to bring that up, because if one person brings up an issue, I'm sure there are many more with an issue. So every email or phone call I'll get, I will treat as if a major part of my constituency has that issue.